Welcome to another video on our channel where today we will talk about the much anticipated foldable iPhone. I am Rodrigo, and as always I am here with my bench partner Milena.
Hello everyone, ready for another one. And today the topic is one that sparks heated debates, huh Rodrigo? That product that is almost an urban legend in the tech world. Remember folks, at the end of the video we will leave the channel link where we are analyzing the news so you can subscribe.
Guys, before we start, leave a comment. If money were not an issue, would you buy a foldable iPhone, or is the Pro Max model the best? Share your opinion in the comments. Let's chat. Going back to the analysis, we've been hearing about this for years, but it seems that now things are getting serious. We're talking about the foldable iPhone, or as rumors suggest, the iPhone Fold. And to guide us through this journey of leaks and speculations, we're going to do something you love. React and comment on a fantastic video from one of the best foreign channels about Apple, Matt Talks Tech. Matt made a compilation with 10 major rumors about this device, and we will analyze each one with you. Of course, we'll give proper credit to his work and add our Brazilian touch of analysis and opinion on all this. Ready, Milena?
More than ready. I have my little notebook here, ready to agree and mainly to disagree. Let's see what Matt has to tell us. Hit play.
Well, Matt already starts with the big promise. 2026 will be the year, a long wait, but perhaps justified. And the first point he brings up is about the construction of the device. Let's listen. Titanium. He already begins with Apple's premium material of the moment. After the iPhone 15 Pro and the rumors of the 17 Air, it seems that titanium is here to stay in the company's elite line. And to be honest, in a foldable device, which by nature already has greater mechanical complexity, using a more rigid and resistant material like titanium makes perfect sense. He mentioned the iPhone 6, and who doesn't remember the panic of Bendgate? Imagine a Bendgate on a phone that already folds by design. It would be chaos.
Certainly, choosing titanium is almost a necessity for a product in this category, and mainly given the price it is expected to cost. Apple cannot afford to have a structural problem. But this choice raises two immediate questions for me. First, cost. Titanium is significantly more expensive to work with than aluminum or steel. This will directly impact the final price, which will no longer be low. Second, weight and heat dissipation. Titanium is lighter than steel, which is great, but how does it perform in terms of heat dissipation in a chassis as thin and compartmentalized as that of a foldable? Apple will have to do excellent thermal engineering inside.
Excellent point, Milena. Internal engineering will be a show in itself. And speaking of fine, this directly leads us to the second leak that Matt presents in his video. He talks about the thickness of the device, and the numbers are quite interesting. Okay, let's analyze these numbers. From 4.5 to 4.8 millimeters when it is open. That is incredibly thin. It is thinner than the USB-C port on many devices. It is almost a sheet of metal and glass. When closed with 9 to 9.5 millimeters, it is a little thicker than an iPhone 16 Pro Max, for example. Matt made an excellent comparison with the first Galaxy Fold, which was a real brick. For a first-generation Apple product, arriving with this thickness already shows the level of refinement they are aiming for. They do not want to launch a prototype. They want to launch a mature product.
Exactly. Apple rarely enters a market to be the first. It enters to, in its view, be the best and set the standard. And these numbers show that ambition. However, it is important to note that in 2026, when it is launched, the competition will already have evolved a lot. Samsung, Google, Chinese brands like Huawei and OnePlus already have extremely thin foldable devices. Therefore, 9.5 millimeters in 2026 may not be as impressive as it seems today. It will be competitive, no doubt, but perhaps not the thinnest on the market. The big question for me is, will this relentless pursuit of thinness compromise the battery or the structure? Titanium helps, but it doesn't work miracles.
It is the eternal dilemma of smartphone engineering, the balance between design, battery life, and durability. And the biggest durability challenge in a foldable device, we know what it is. It is the famous crease on the screen. And this is the third point in Matt's video, and perhaps the most revolutionary. Let's see the solution that Apple supposedly found. Liquid hinge. That sounds like something out of a science fiction movie. Matt, citing Ming-Chi Kuo, says that this technology is Apple's goose that lays the golden eggs. The ability to have a screen that folds without leaving that mark in the middle, which is the main complaint of foldable users today. If Apple can deliver a device that, after being opened, looks like a single, perfectly flat screen, it will not only have a huge differentiator, but will have also solved the biggest problem of all its competitors. That, for me, justifies all the waiting.
I totally agree. The crease is a barrier to acceptance for many people. You pay a fortune for a device, and there is that bump in the middle of the screen that you feel with your finger and see under certain light angles. It breaks immersion. The liquid metal technology is fascinating. It probably refers to an amorphous metal alloy that can be shaped with precision and has a very high fatigue resistance, preventing the permanent deformation that causes the crease. Matt speculates that this more complex hinge could be one of the reasons for the slightly greater thickness, and it makes sense. It's a trade-off. 1 more millimeter of thickness for 0 crease. I accept this trade every day.
Absolutely. It would be Apple's checkmate in the foldable market. And the screen design doesn't stop there. The fourth point in Matt's video talks about the screen sizes, starting with the external one. And the choice of size is, at the very least, nostalgic. 5.5 inches on the external screen. Milena, that took me back to 2014, to the iPhone 6 Plus. It's a size that Apple has already mastered in the past. But today, in a world of phones with 6.7, 6.9-inch screens, a 5.5-inch screen might seem small. However, I see brilliance in this. The big problem with many current foldables, especially the fold style, is that the external screen is very narrow and elongated, making typing and using some apps quite uncomfortable. By opting for a format closer to the old iPhones, Apple might be prioritizing the device's usability when closed, making it a normal and compact iPhone for quick tasks.
It's a masterstroke in terms of ergonomics, if that's really the case. The idea of having a true 2-in-1 phone, a compact and easy-to-use iPhone with one hand when closed and a mini tablet when open. Matt correctly remembered the Plus models. They had huge bezels. A 5.5-inch device today, bezel-less, would be extremely compact and comfortable. This would solve the main criticism I have of current foldables, which is the feeling that you're always using the device in the wrong mode. Either the outside screen is strange, or the inside one is too large for certain things. Apple seems to be focusing on making both user experiences equally good.
Exactly. And if the external screen is already interesting, the internal one is where the magic truly happens. It is the fifth point that Matt addresses, and the comparison he makes is also very clever. 7.8 inches. Basically, you'll have an iPad mini in your pocket. The value proposition here is incredible. You leave home with an iPhone, and at any moment, you can open it and have a tablet experience for working, reading, watching videos, or gaming. Matt speculates that with this format, perhaps Apple can better optimize the aspect ratio for media consumption, avoiding those huge black bars we see in some current foldables when watching movies, for example.
This convergence of devices is the dream of many people, and Apple's ecosystem is the one that stands to gain the most from it. Imagine iPadOS or an adapted version of it running on this device, the multitasking potential with Stage Manager, the possibility of using the Apple Pencil. The possibilities are immense. My only caveat is about developers. Apple will need a huge effort to convince and help developers adapt their apps to this new reality of a transforming screen. It's not enough to stretch the iPhone app. It needs to behave like a tablet app when the screen is open, taking advantage of the extra space. The success of the iPhone Fold will depend 90% on the quality of the software adapted for it.
Certainly the software will be king. And to interact with this software, we need a secure unlocking method. Face ID is the standard today, but on a foldable device, where to place all the true depth sensors, both on the inner and outer screens? The sixth point in Matt's video brings back an old friend, the return of Touch ID. I know many people will celebrate this news, integrated into the side button just like on iPads. It's an elegant functional solution that solves all the design problems of a foldable. You don't need a notch or a dynamic island on two different screens. You simply pick up the device, and when turning on the screen, your finger already unlocks it. It's practical, fast, and secure. For me, it's the perfect solution for this device format.
I am a big fan of Face ID, but I have to admit that in this specific case, the Touch ID on the side button is the smartest engineering choice. Besides simplifying the design and reducing costs, it offers more flexibility. For example, with the phone open on the table, it's much easier to tap the side button than to position yourself for Face ID to recognize you, and it solves the mask-wearing issue, which, although no longer constant, still happens. It's Apple being pragmatic and using a technology they already master to solve a complex problem simply. Point for Apple.
Perfect. Now, on one hand, they are simplifying unlocking, but on the other hand, it seems they will have to make some sacrifices. And Matt's seventh point is where the on-duty photographers might raise an eyebrow: the cameras. Yes, here we have the first major however. According to Matt, and it makes perfect sense, there will be no physical space for the set of cameras of an iPhone Pro Max in the super slim chassis of an iPhone Fold, especially the periscopic lenses, which need a certain depth to function. So the expectation is that it will come with a dual camera system, a main, wide, and an ultra wide, similar to what we have on entry-level iPhones. It will be a fantastic camera, no doubt, but it will not be Apple's top of the line.
It is an understandable and honestly expected sacrifice. It's a matter of physics. In a device that prioritizes thickness and foldable screen technology, the camera cannot be the #1 priority in terms of hardware. Users will have to choose, do you want the best zoom and photography system on the market, or do you want a device that transforms into a tablet? Having both in the first generation seems impossible. Apple's software can compensate a lot with the photonic engine and deep fusion, but the versatility of a third lens, especially for zoom, will be missed by the most demanding users.
Exactly, it's a matter of prioritization. And if they are saving space in the cameras, they need to optimize every millimeter for the battery. Matt's eighth point discusses a new battery technology that can help with this: lithium carbon batteries. That's interesting. Matt explains that it is a technology that allows a battery with lower nominal capacity in milliamp hours, but lasts longer. In addition to being physically thinner, it is the perfect solution for a device like the Fold, achieving more autonomy in a smaller space. Combining this with the efficiency of Apple's Series A chips, the battery life of the iPhone Fold could surprise many people, even if the raw capacity numbers are not the highest on the market.
Apple's energy management has always been its major differentiator. They control the hardware and software, which allows for optimization that other brands cannot achieve. If this new battery technology truly delivers a higher energy density, we could have a full day of heavy use without issues, which is crucial for a device focused on productivity and media consumption. The idea of perhaps thickening the chassis a little to fit more battery also appeals to me. I prefer a phone with 0.5 millimeter more thickness and 20% more battery than a super slim one that leaves me stranded at 6 p.m.
I agree 100%. Battery life is never enough. And now let's move on to the last 2 points of Matt's video, which are what everyone really wants to know: when and how much. Let's start with the release date, the 9th point. September 2026. It seems far away, but at the rate technology is advancing, it will arrive in the blink of an eye. Launching at the traditional September event positions the iPhone Fold not as an experiment, but as a pillar of Apple's product line, perhaps alongside the new iPhone 18 or 18 Pro. It's Apple saying, this is not a hobby, it's the future.
A 2026 date also allows time for the technology to mature, especially the hinge and the crease-free screen. And as we mentioned earlier, it gives the software ecosystem time to prepare. It is a strategic date. They observe the competition, learn from others' mistakes and successes, and come up with a product that they hope will be as polished as possible. The wait will be long, but if it is to deliver what they are promising, it will be worth it.
Certainly. And finally, the question of $1 million, or rather a few $1,000s, the 10th and last point of Matt's video, the price. Get your pockets ready, $2,000. Converting to Brazil with taxes and the Apple fee, we're talking about a product that can easily reach or exceed the 25,000 reais mark. It's an extremely high price, there's no denying it. But as Matt well pointed out, it's not a product for everyone. It's a niche device for early adopters, enthusiasts, and professionals who can justify the cost through the productivity it offers. He also makes a good point that the initial storage will probably be high, 256 gigabytes or even 512 gigabytes, which helps to smooth out the value.
It is the price of innovation, or at least the price of innovation with the Apple logo. Is it expensive? Yes. Is it surprising? Not at all. Apple is positioning this device as the pinnacle of its consumer technology. It is an iPhone and an iPad mini in one. If you add up the price of an iPhone 18 Pro Max and an iPad mini in 2026, the value might not be so far apart. It is a product for those who want the future today, or rather in 2026. And they are willing to pay for it. It may not be a volume sales champion, but it will be a coveted object and a demonstration of Apple's technological strength.
Perfect placement. It will be a demonstration of strength. And with that, Matt ends his video. A fantastic and very comprehensive summary. So making a general assessment, Milena, titanium, super thin, crease-free screen, Touch ID, nostalgic and functional screens, competent cameras but not top of the line, promising battery, and a price for few. Personally, did you feel more or less excited after seeing all these compiled rumors?
Rodrigo, I would say I am realistically excited. Apple seems to be making the right choices, prioritizing user experience and durability rather than just rushing to put specifications on paper. The focus on eliminating the crease and creating good ergonomics on both screens is what excites me the most.
The price and the cameras are points of concern, but understandable for a first generation. If half of what Matt showed here materializes, we will have a revolutionary product in hand.
Guys, don't forget the question at the beginning of the video. If money were no object, would you buy a foldable iPhone, or is the Pro Max model the best? This video doesn't end now. It continues with us chatting in the comments. If you find this video interesting, I invite you to become a channel member and like this video. Up here on the top right, I will leave a video suggestion for you to continue with me.
Exactly. As always, thank you very much for watching. I am Rodrigo, she is Milena, and we'll see each other next time with more news.